But finally, what happens if we automate all of this with CIG, with Cost Insight Generate? What's the impact then? Well, let's look at all those saving potentials on a normal distribution. So number of parts versus saving potential. Parts on the left-hand side have no real saving, but some parts have a very large saving. The trick is to find them and avoid the low saving potentials. Traditional approaches to cost reduction will yield an average percentage improvement every year. With aPriori, of course, we expand that because we have greater speed, greater insight. We can look at a lot more and sanction it and look at the best stuff as well. But what about everything else? This is where Cost Insight Generate automation help us. All these components and assemblies we haven't had time to look at before, but if we can, it means that we can find the best opportunities. But unfortunately, we can't do everything. Without significant investment in our company, which we could do if we want to, without that, we have a finite team of people that can execute on what aPriori provides through insight, people to design out cost, to procure out cost, people, cost engineers as well. So therefore, what we really will do then is just move the focus onto the things that we can do. So that blue bar, that blue boundary rather, represents what we can address. So let's shift our focus over to that. We can measure what improvement that is. So let's say, for example, in my business, I go from the ability to understand 30% of what I do to now 90%, because simulation, automated simulation allows me to look at a much greater part of my business in the background. That means we can shift the focus and the center of gravity over into the areas where we should be spending our valuable resources. So if our conventional approach is 5% per year, that's what we're getting today, with the highest saving potential of 10%, and we use automation to shift everything to the right, that would yield us an extra 2.64% on everything based on those parameters. That's real. That's just mathematics using averages and normal distribution. And across all these different scenarios that I talked about, there are greater or lesser numbers based on these parameters here. And if I run everything through based on automation, I get an extra $14 million. But let me be really clear. I'm getting that $14 million for doing nothing, zero. I'm doing exactly what I do today, but I'm doing it on the things that aPriori tells me I should be doing it on because of automation. Now, that whole number starts to get very large and perhaps even unrealistic for some people. That's a very large number in a company that only turns over 350 million a year. But the numbers don't lie, they add up. But the question is, could I really get those percentage savings? Are they mutually exclusive? Just look at the material versus design and manufacturing process one. Even if everything only had a 1% improvement, and everything I've just talked about, we only found 1% in every scenario, that's still worth 15.3 million a year. And I don't believe for a second there's an organization out there that's interested in making that kind of impact. And we can do that with the insight and the automation.